Okay, now we're going to do problem 523. So again, if you would turn to that one in your handout, and I may show you the solution, but again on Excel it's pretty easy. So we have annual production units is 45,000 and 90,000. I'm going to actually put that down there. You may not know where you need to put it yet, but you do need to make sure you write it down someplace or just circle it. With tables like this, you kind of, some of this stuff is already broken out for you, so you don't need to rewrite it. But I do need direct material costs, so I'm making mathematical and financial calculators. I operate at capacity, so I can't make any more. So my direct materials, 180,000, that's going to be important, and 360,000. So hopefully I don't type these in wrong. This is direct labor costs is 90,000 and 180,000. Okay, so now I'm going to allocate my overhead. It says total manufacturing overhead costs are 360, 108, 117. And so I know that I know my total labor or materials, my total labor there, and I know that my setups total 360,000. I know my 108,000, and this is 117,000. Okay, and so I just need to make this a little bit wider. Okay, so I've got that many costs to allocate. So I want these two totals to equal that, and you can see that right now they do not, because I have not allocated the overhead between them. Okay, so choose a cost driver for each overhead cost pool and calculate the manufacturing overhead per cost unit. So basically I look at what they gave me, but machining costs, and they give me direct material costs, they give me direct labor costs, they give you labor hours, they give you the machine hours, they give you the number of production runs, and they give you inspection hours. Okay, so you need to actually walk around the plant sometime and say, what is the best way to get this? All right, so we're going to have to decide. Hopefully machining costs, those are 360,000. Delete the bottom of those because I haven't yet decided. All right, so I think we're going to decide that machining costs should be allocated based on machine hours. So I have 30,000 and 60,000. So 30,000 plus is going to be my base. And so my rate is going to be $4 per machine hour. Okay, and I'm actually going to go ahead and do that. So now I'm going to do my machine hours. Where are they at? 30,000 times $4. So I have 120,000, and then I'm going to have 60,000 times my $4. So I have 240,000 for the financial calculators. What about setup? So again, let's figure out how setup should be allocated. Setup is you have to set up a production run, so production runs would be the best one. So again, I'm going to have a 45 and 45. Hopefully you basically see that that should be 50-50, so I could just divide that in half and put it in there. But I'm going to go through the process. Is I'm going to have $108,000 times going to have $1,200 times 45, since it's 1,200, and then I'm going to have 45 times 1,200 again. So it should be just 50-50. I can have my So notice these are my check figures that I have them allocated right because I just typed in these numbers. So I added up these two together, and they are indeed the same as that. Okay, and then inspection costs probably should be allocated based on inspection hours. So I have inspection hours of 1,200, and so I have inspection hours of that, and it's per inspection hour. This really helps if you write what it is per, so later on if you do it, so that's per setup. I generally try to always do that. Okay, so now I have 1,200 times my $65 per inspection hour. That is spelled inspection, it just doesn't look like it. That's how I'm going to spell it today. Then I have 600 times my $65, and you can see I have 39,000. Okay, so the first one is choose the cost driver for each overhead cost pool and calculate the manufacturing overhead cost per unit cost for each product. So this just actually asks for, I'm going to skip to 2 first. Compute the manufacturing cost per unit for each product. So I have 1160 and 970. So remember that. Now if I just want the overhead cost, I think since I have my formulas in here, I'm just going to delete these. And I have my manufacturing overhead costs are $5.60 and $3.70. So when you go to the solution, you're going to see that they actually do this on a per unit cost for each of them. So they take the 180 divided by the 45,000 to get a unit cost, etc. I'll show you in a second. Okay, so the first one, they have the 560 and the 370. So notice they only have got the overhead in these, and I had my 3 overheads on that other one. You can go back and look at it, or hopefully you've been following along and doing your own. And then notice they do the direct materials divided by 45,000, the direct labor divided by 45,000, and then they add on the 560. Whereas I simply, look, 1160, 970, where I simply added all the costs and divided by 45,000 at once. Okay, and then the last problem tells, you know, what this can do. And basically, as long as your cost drivers are true cost drivers, they do reflect what really drives the cost, you can figure out what your products do cost and where expensive items come from. If I go back to this and say, all right, is there one overhead item that really stands out? You may say, wow, machining time for the financial calculator is a lot higher than the machining time for the mathematical calculator. Is there any way I can look into trying to reduce the number of machine hours here, because that is making that one pretty expensive. So it's not only done to identify the true cost so I know what to sell it for, it's also done to identify where there are costly items so I can decide, gee, do I want to try to remanufacture it, redo the process to get rid of some of these costs. So that's it for chapter 5. Hope that helps.